the new job. Chapter 1, A Fresh Start. Roberto was nervous as he walked down the bustling streets of Midtown, his heart racing with anticipation. Today was his first day at a new job in a new city, and he could feel the excitement mixed with anxiety coursing through his veins. Just a few weeks ago, he had packed his bags, left his small hometown, and moved to the vibrant city in search of new opportunities. Now, he was about to start his new role as a barista at Java Junction, a popular coffee shop known for its cozy atmosphere and delicious drinks. As he approached the coffee shop, he paused for a moment outside the door. Through the window, he could see people sitting at small tables, sipping their coffees, and chatting with friends. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, calming his nerves slightly. Taking a deep breath, he pushed the door open, hearing the soft chime of a bell that announced his arrival. Chapter 2, Meeting the Team. Inside, Roberto was greeted by the manager, Lisa, a friendly woman with curly brown hair and a welcoming smile. "Good morning, Roberto." "Welcome to Java Junction," she said warmly, extending her hand. "Good morning, Lisa," Roberto replied, shaking her hand. "I'm excited to be here." "We're happy to have you," Lisa replied. "Let me introduce you to the team. This is Mark," she said, pointing to a tall man with a kind face who was busy steaming milk for a cappuccino. "Hey, Roberto." Mark greeted him cheerfully. "Looking forward to working with you." "Hi, Mark." "Nice to meet you," Roberto responded. "And this is Sarah," Lisa continued, motioning to a young woman with bright red hair who was arranging pastries in the display case. "Hi, Roberto. If you need any help today, just let me know," Sarah said with a smile. "Thank you, Sarah," Roberto replied, feeling a bit more at ease with every introduction. Lisa handed Roberto an apron and gestured towards the counter. "Today, we'll start by showing you how everything works around here. Don't worry, we'll take it step by step." Chapter 3, Learning the Ropes. Roberto put on his apron and followed Lisa behind the counter. He noticed a row of shiny coffee machines, stacks of cups, and containers filled with coffee beans of various kinds. "First things first," Lisa began, "let's start with the basics, how to make a simple cup of coffee." She demonstrated how to grind the coffee beans, measure the right amount, and use the espresso machine to make a perfect shot of espresso. Roberto watched closely, nodding his head. "Now, it's your turn," Lisa encouraged. Roberto took a deep breath and stepped forward. He carefully measured the coffee beans, ground them, and tried to replicate Lisa's movements with the espresso machine. As the machine whirred to life, he felt a surge of satisfaction. "Not bad," Lisa said, smiling. "Now, let's move on to some more complicated drinks." They spent the next hour going through various coffee recipes, cappuccinos, lattes, mochas, and macchiatos. Roberto tried to absorb as much information as he could. He learned how to steam milk to the perfect temperature, create a smooth froth, and pour it artfully into the cup. He found it challenging but exciting at the same time. Chapter 4, The First Customer. After a while, Lisa glanced at the clock. "Okay, Roberto, time to try serving your first customer," she said, patting him on the back. Roberto felt a flutter of nerves in his stomach. He took his position at the cash register, trying to remember everything he had learned. A middle-aged woman approached the counter, smiling warmly. "Good morning. What can I get for you today?" Roberto asked, remembering to use his polite tone. The woman glanced at the menu board. "I'd like a medium caramel latte, please," she replied. "Of course." Roberto said, quickly tapping the order into the register. That will be $4.50, please. The woman handed him a $5 bill. Keep the change, she said with a smile. Thank you. Roberto replied, feeling grateful for her kindness. He moved over to the coffee machine, his hands slightly trembling, and began making the caramel latte. He carefully steamed the milk and added the caramel syrup, just as Lisa had shown him. He poured the steamed milk into the espresso, trying to create a little heart shape on top, just like he had practiced. He handed the cup to the woman. Here you go. One caramel latte, he said, trying to sound confident. The woman took a sip and smiled. This is delicious. Thank you, she said. Relief washed over Roberto. You're very welcome. Have a great day, he replied, feeling a surge of pride. He had successfully served his first customer. Chapter 5: The Rush Hour Challenge. Just as Roberto was beginning to feel more comfortable, the clock struck 8:30, and suddenly, a rush of people began pouring into the shop. The morning rush hour had begun. Roberto glanced at Lisa, who gave him an encouraging nod. This is where the Real Challenge begins, she said with a grin. Customers lined up, and orders started coming in fast: cappuccinos, iced coffees, espressos, fraps, and more. Roberto quickly realized that he needed to be fast and efficient. Mark was handling the espresso machine like a pro, while Sarah managed the pastry counter with ease. Excuse me, could I have a tall Americano and a blueberry muffin? A man asked, his voice hurried. Yes, sir. Coming right up. Roberto replied, quickly tapping the order into the register. He noticed the man checking his watch impatiently, and he felt a bit of pressure building up. Roberto moved to the espresso machine, trying to remember the steps as quickly as possible. He could hear the sounds of milk steaming, cups clinking, and customers chatting. The noise was overwhelming, but he focused on his task, making the Americano just as Lisa had taught him. He then grabbed a blueberry muffin from the pastry case, placed it on a small plate, and handed both items to the customer. Here you go. Thank you for waiting, he said politely. The man smiled, took his order, and walked away. Roberto felt a small wave of accomplishment but knew there were many more customers to serve. Chapter 6: Teamwork and Support. As the rush continued, Roberto began to feel overwhelmed. Orders were coming in faster than he could handle, and he started to make small mistakes: a wrong size here, too much syrup there. He could feel the anxiety building, but then he felt a hand on his shoulder. Hey, don't worry, you're doing great, Mark said reassuringly. Just take a deep breath and remember what Lisa showed you. We're a team, and we've got your back. Roberto nodded, feeling a bit more confident. Thanks, Mark. I'll try to keep up. Mark smiled. You're learning fast, Roberto. We all had a first day once, and it gets easier. Just focus on one order at a time. With renewed determination, Roberto jumped back into action. He started to find his rhythm, remembering to call out each order as he completed it. One iced mocha for Anna, he shouted, setting the drink on the counter. A young woman stepped forward. Thank you, she said with a smile, taking her drink. Thank you for your patience. Roberto replied, feeling the tension in his shoulders start to ease. He was getting the hang of it. Chapter 7: A Moment of Panic. Just as Roberto was beginning to feel more confident, a tall man with a stern face approached the counter. I ordered a large cappuccino, and it's been 10 minutes, he said, sounding frustrated. Roberto felt a jolt of panic. He quickly scanned the counter and realized he had forgotten to prepare the cappuccino. "I'm so sorry, sir," he said quickly. "I'll make it right away." He hurried to the espresso machine, his hands shaking slightly. Lisa noticed and came over. "It's okay, Roberto. Just take a deep breath. You're doing fine." Roberto nodded, trying to steady his nerves. He prepared the cappuccino as quickly as he could, remembering to steam the milk to the right temperature and create a good amount of foam. He carefully poured the milk over the espresso and handed the cup to the man. "Here you go, sir. I apologize